Listen, listen.
Welcome to the
Welcome to Disney Really.
This is what happens when we're able to record solo in our own homes. Okay, so how was your weekend, Lauren?
My weekend was so good. I chilled all weekend. I got lots of chores done. I had a big house clean because if another 10-year-old is coming over, my house has to be clean.
Because what? They're going to judge it?
That's just how my brain works. Anybody coming over, my whole house has to be clean.
Even your bedroom, which the
Are you
10-year-old will
not
never
like
be in
that?
there. No.
You're not like that?
No, I mean, my kitchen and my living room will always be clean if people are coming over, but I'm not going to clean my entire house. And my office, obviously, because they walk in.
Well, my upstairs needed a deep clean, so that's what I
It
did.
needed a deep clean, and then those children came and tore it all right back up, did they not?
They sure did.
But are the boys helping you clean?
Arlo did for about 30 minutes.
You know what? At some point, I want you to start using that mom power on him and have him. I always tell Kylie, you want people over? You better do it. You got to be here.
He doesn't know how.
But that's when you keep making him. You know, you get behind him and you grab his hands and you're like, we clean like this.
Well, Gabe is always like, my mom always told me that if it's not how mom would do it, then it's not done. So, but then it still wasn't done. I feel bad though, because I know he's not capable of cleaning the way that I want to. So he'll come up to me and he's like, "Are you okay, Mom? Are you okay? I'm sorry. I really appreciate you." Like, I swear he's gonna be, I'm not even gonna say it.
What? He's going to need a maid?
Probably. I can just see him getting what he wants. Okay, that's all.
I hear you. I hear you. Stop giving in. I get it. Don't worry. My kid is spoiled, so it's not like I can really talk. You know, Kylie gets practically anything she wants. We fuss. We fight about it, but she more likely to get what they want.
Like, we went to Shields yesterday, and Leo was
I
in
love
the
that
worst
store.
mood. I know, me too. Because Arlo went to his friends, and he was a little upset about it. He was like, "What good?" Blah, blah. We go to Shields, and we're like, "Let's pick out a new soccer outfit. Let's get a new soccer ball." And the whole time, he's just like, I'm like, "Who are you?" When I went to a store when I was a kid, I was so excited, especially if my sibling wasn't there. Because
Yeah.
I'm getting all the attention from my parents.
Yeah.
He's like, and he's just like, we bought him 3 outfits, and he's just like,
the fact that did y'all buy him outfits because he needed them or because y'all were trying to get him happy?
both.
You yelled back at me. Him and Gabe just walking around the store like just
No, and like Gabe is like such a hype man. He's just like let's do this, let's do that. We're here. Like, let's have a great time. Let's go to the candy store. And I'm over here like, you're really about to spoil that kid. Bye.
The struggle of us raising some kids, man.
Sour and sweet.
Dude, I can't. Mine's literally both. She fights with her inner demons every day. Okay, anyways, we just needed an intro. That was great, but
was it? I forgot we were doing that.
I like that it's recorded, so you'll get to see this entire.
Damn it.
Oh, no, that was good. I mean, I doubt any of that's in there, but you made me laugh so hard with them.
Well, enjoy our episode today, guys. Sorry, I forgot we were recording an intro.
Yeah, we got a special guest for you guys, so see you on the other side.
It's Des and Lo, and this is the Did We Really podcast. Killed it. I love it.
I want the tea. When you give me a story, give me the tea. Just to know, I know we mentioned this the first time we met. We will get off subject.
Oh yeah.
Yes, so I deep dive on your Instagram, not to sound creepy or anything, but I'm very excited to talk to you.
Yeah, I'm actually just going to go ahead and let Jessica introduce herself. So everybody, welcome to our podcast. We have a special guest today, and her name is Jessica. I'm going to go ahead and let her introduce herself so that way she can explain what she does better than I could.
Hello. My name is Jessica. I am a certified personal trainer and an accountability coach. And I really help women learn how to lose weight simply and sustainably. I struggled with my weight for a really, really long time and did a lot of yo-yo dieting. Until I was able to figure out how to make it work in my life. And it's so much easier than it was back in the day when I was making it super complicated. So I just love being able to help other women get stronger, gain more energy, have better moods, like all the positive things that come along with losing weight and really getting our health and fitness under control. And so, yeah, that's what I do.
That's awesome. Now, an accountability coach, tell me what that looks like. What do they do besides obviously hold you accountable?
A large piece of my coaching actually really leans into the accountability side and the working on your habits and your mindset. Like all of that is crucial to being able to lose weight and keep it off. I think that people really overlook that. They think we need to work out, we need to focus on, following a certain diet, and they don't change their habits. They don't change their mindset. And so it's very, very difficult for it to be sustainable. So I do like weekly check-ins with all of my private clients, and hold them accountable. We go over every single week. We have goals and focuses, and then even some of my clients throughout the middle of the week, we're checking in and making sure that they're, just sticking to it and doing the things that they know they should be doing to help them get to their goals, but then also to sort of like work through the struggles, right? Like I had a couple of trainers when I was really struggling, and I always had somebody that like said, here you go. Here's a workout, or here's a food plan. Good luck. I'll see you, whenever the next training session is. And that didn't help me. Like I could follow a workout program or I could follow a diet. Like I needed you to be my coach. I needed you to be my partner and help me like walk me through it and get through the struggle all the times between the workouts and, and so I'm just really there to sort of like walk alongside my clients, which is a lot of fun. And I think the most helpful. I think that's what people really need. Until they can learn that they can trust themselves, until they learn that they're capable of doing that for themselves.
Yeah, that's a big thing for people. You're almost like a therapist in a way.
Yes.
Alongside being a personal trainer. Yeah.
We talked to a hairstylist a few episodes ago, and it's so funny because when Lauren brings up a therapist, I also think like I've seen probably like reels and stuff like that, but where people like just open up to like their trainers, they start telling them like their lives, or they start giving all those details. Is that something that you come across too? They're like, here's what's happening.
Yeah, because like, in fact, I just got off a call with one of my one-on-one clients, and we were talking about like, she's just struggling. And she was talking about how she tried to talk to her husband about it. And she's like, he just doesn't get it. And so right before we got off the phone, she was like, I feel so much better. Like
That's awesome.
we just need someone who's been there. I think
Yeah.
that that's another helpful tool. Not to say that trainers that haven't been there aren't very helpful and fantastic, but I think it's special that I have been in her shoes. And
Yeah.
I also have the education and the experience of working with other clients. Like I have all of that to put together to help her work through,
Yeah.
what's going on. And quite frankly, a lot of the things that come up for my clients have come up for me, right? So I've been through it.
Yeah.
So I think that's really powerful. But yeah, definitely it's a lot of therapy going on.
We love therapy around
Yes.
here.
Yes.
I was curious, like, what your clients, I mean, obviously patient, therapist confidentiality, but what do you find a lot of people are having to unlearn with their life struggles, the kinds of things that they're having to unlearn to be healthy?
I think one of the biggest things that we have to unlearn is being in general, learning to create a balanced lifestyle and learning to create sustainable habits. And that looks a little bit different for everyone. I think that we have this idea that workouts have to be an hour long and they have to be really intense and you have to be like dripping in sweat, and out of breath, and that we have to rid our houses of the carbs and the sugar, and we can't have pizza, and like just it has to be so intense and so
Yeah.
strict in order for us to reach our goals. And that's what I thought for so long, for so long. And I have only been successful at losing weight and keeping it off when I'm not doing it that way, right? When I'm like creating that lifestyle that works for me, right? Like we can still do pizza night with the family because I'm not restricting any foods. I can still go out and enjoy ice cream with my kids if I want to. I can one day make one of my workouts like a hike with my family. Like, all of those things, learning that it's important to move my body and it's important to fuel my body and it's important to drink water. It's important to take care of my mind, right? It's important to take care of my stress levels and my sleep, like kind of putting all of those things together, and creating a lifestyle that is healthy and balanced and works for me, works for each of us individually. And like I said, that looks a little bit different for everyone. And
Yeah.
I think that we really have to hone in on all those different areas, especially as we get older. All of those areas are important. I think we think, back to when we were like teenagers or in our 20s and we could like, just stop eating for a couple days. Or
Yeah.
go drink Coke or something and go for a run and like lose some weight. It's not like that anymore.
Yeah.
We really have to focus on all the different pieces of life and allow ourselves to continue living our lives. Like, one of the things that I always say is, a lot of us like have children or we have husbands or we have careers or hobbies, relationships, outside of our health and fitness. And those are important to us. Like we want to put some of our time and energy there. So if you spend all of your time and energy focused on losing weight, you don't have time and space for those other things and people. And we don't want to get rid of those people. We want them in our lives. We want those things in our lives. So creating balance, I think is huge, that needs to be unlearned.
Yeah. Yeah. So I know we came in hot and heavy and you kind of already you've given us some great tips. I want to know kind of what led you down this path. And especially because you said like it really clicked with you later on in life. Like what started you down this to just really invest in it?
Yeah. So, what started me down the path of being healthier or being a trainer?
I both. I mean, they came with each other, right? Like as soon as
Okay, so I'll try to make the backstory quick. But when I was young, my father passed away when I was 6. And my response to that, which this still blows my mind, but my response to that was to turn to food. So I used food to cope with the grief. And that just snowballed. And so by the time I was about 9, I was pretty overweight. And that just went on for years and years and years. And I just really struggled. I want to say I was like 10 when I did my first diet. And so I just dieting, gaining weight, losing weight all through the rest of my life. And then I got to my 30s and I met my husband like I was 32 or 33. Um, I met him and obviously we wanted to get married, right? And I already had a son. So let me back up a little bit. I have a son who is now 18. So I was 22 when I had him. So all this time I'm trying to create healthy habits. I'm trying to lose the weight. I'm trying to be healthy for him, but I'm just struggling. So anyway, I meet my now husband. And we decided to get married, and I had never been married before. And I was like, I'm fitting in that wedding dress. Like, I want to be able to wear a beautiful wedding dress. That's all I want, right? I
Yeah.
don't care about anything else of being able to fit in that dress.
Yes.
And so I just continued doing what I was always doing. I did crazy, crazy. I was doing 36-hour fasts. Like, I was doing crazy stuff. Okay, so I get to my wedding. I fit in the dress. I'm in really good shape. I actually feel really good. Or I look good. Let me say that. I didn't feel great, right? Because I had done some pretty restrictive things, but I looked good in my opinion. So I came back from my honeymoon and I had gained 10 pounds. And so that was my cycle. Like that's what I did my
Yeah.
whole and so after that I was just like, okay, I gotta figure this out. I gotta do something different. I knew that we were gonna plan to have another child and I'm not young. And so, you start thinking about life and the rest of your life and what you want it to look like. If you have grandchildren, like all of those things, you start to think about those as you get a little bit older. And so, I don't know if you guys have ever heard of it, but I did 75 hard, which again is a very extreme process. But
I've been thinking about it. I'm just saying.
You're in my head, Lauren.
I'm totally open to talking about it because while it is extreme, I also am a huge fan of it. I love it.
Okay.
And so I did that. And one of the number one reasons that I wanted to do that is because I always struggled with being consistent. I was hot and cold. And I am very much an all or nothing person. So I'm that way in every facet of my life. And I just struggled. I lost weight so many times. Like I told you, I got to my wedding and I was in great shape, right? But I couldn't keep it. And I was just really struggling. So anyway, so I did 75 hard. It taught me that I was capable of being consistent. And I'm forever grateful for that. It was fantastic. But when I got done with it, I gained 5 pounds pretty quickly. And I was just exhausted, like just mentally fried from all the years of dieting. And a big piece of my story is that I really struggled with food because, when my father passed, I used it to cope. And I learned over the years to use it for every single emotion. It was my best friend. It was everything. And so when I got done with 75 hard, I actually felt really good. I was in good shape at that point. I felt good. But I couldn't get over the obsessive thoughts of food. Like I was just consumed by the food. And so at that point I was like, I have to do something different. Like I have to do something I've never done before. I have to like really figure out my relationship with food. And so I quit dieting. I quit tracking my food. I quit planning my food. Like I just was like, I just have to do something different. I have to listen to my body. So I went through this process of a few months of just really listening to my body, listening to what it wanted, listening to how it responded to food, relearning my hunger and fullness cues, because Lord knows after so many years of dieting, you don't have those. You don't know what it's like to feel hungry or full. And so I just went through that process and it was life-changing, like life-changing. To this day, my relationship with food is so much better because I went through that process and learned about myself and how to handle food and how to stop using food to cope with all the emotions. So that I became a trainer after that. I actually, since the age of 18, have wanted to be a personal trainer. I was a massage therapist. I became a massage therapist when I was 19, and I've been massaging all these years. So the body is really interesting to me.
Yeah.
And so at 18, I knew I wanted to be a trainer, but I was struggling with figuring myself out, trying to figure me out. And so I was like, I'm not in a position to help other people. So now I finally was like, oh my gosh, here it is. Like, this is what I've always wanted to do. So I got my personal training certification, had my daughter. another whole long story. Postpartum was really challenging for us. So that was, like I was doing the training, but all of mine is online. Like I do everything virtually. So I really had to take a lot of time away from that for a while, and focus on our family. Um, and now I'm in it all the time. I'm, just loving the opportunity to help other women to work through all of that stuff and hopefully learn it a whole lot quicker than I did because it took me a whole long time.
No, that's really awesome. I know. So saying that, what would like you said you kind of found this in your 30s. What is something you might tell your younger self? To any young girls listening to our podcast, what's maybe some like a anything? It could be a piece of advice, it could be a quote that you've heard. Is there anything that you would, tell the younger girls nowadays, if
Mhm.
at all?
I think that I would tell them to dig really deep and find out why they're trying to do what they're doing. Um, I spent a long time thinking it was just about being skinny. And I think in a lot of ways it was for a long time.
Yeah.
'Cause I didn't have that experience growing up. I was never a skinny kid or girl or teen or in my 20s. Like I just didn't experience that. So I was chasing that. But that's not health, right? That's not longevity. That's not happiness. So I think I would tell them to really focus on why they're doing what they're doing and to truly love themselves through the process. Um, you cannot shame yourself into changing. And, I always say, think about if you were speaking to your best friend or your mom or your daughter or anyone the way that you're speaking to yourself. And would you expect them to feel encouraged, to feel empowered, to be thriving and be in a position where they can take action and do better, you know?
Yeah, that's so important.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's really good advice because I beat myself up, but I'm over here hyping, Destiny up or my best friend, and I'm not taking the same advice. So
Exactly.
I,
And when you're sitting in all of those negative thoughts, like, of course you're going to turn to food. Of course you don't want to go to the gym. Of course you don't feel good and encouraged and motivated to go do the things, right?
yeah,
So I think it is crucial that we change the way that we think, change the way we speak to ourselves.
yeah, for sure. I wonder where Des went.
I don't know.
I think her dogs might have given her some
Yeah,
trouble there.
that's what I was thinking.
Um, awesome. Okay. Okay. We'll talk a little more while she's gone. What's one thing about wellness culture that drives you nuts?
Sorry, guys.
No, you're fine.
My dog was going like super nuts. Like she would not stop. I don't know what was happening. I threw her outside.
I kind of figured
Yeah,
Charlie
yeah.
might have been going
I was like, is
crazy.
somebody breaking into the house while I'm recording? Like, I have no clue what's going on. So, okay. I heard all of your great words. I did hear all of that. So go ahead and answer Lauren's question. I'm so sorry.
Okay, can you repeat the question for me?
No, yeah. One thing about wellness culture? It could have been, like you said, there's so many fads, from, the 90s, the 2000s up to now. What's one thing about wellness culture that may have like driven you absolutely nuts that you're like, why are people following this trend?
I truthfully can't pinpoint one trend because I think that most of them are unhealthy. So I think that we are chasing a magic pill, right? We're chasing this thing that's going to be easy and is going to give us fast results and we're chasing that in part because we've been led to believe that's an option. And let me say it is. But 9 times out of 10, the way that people lose weight quickly is an unsustainable route for their lifestyle. So you can lose weight really fast, but you're likely going to gain it back, right?
Right.
Yeah.
If
So
you
in
can't.
my opinion, that doesn't work for you, right? Like a
Mm-hmm.
lot of times I'll ask people, what's worked for you in the past? Oh, well, keto worked for me, or this worked for me, or this worked for me, but you couldn't sustain it. So it
Mm-hmm.
doesn't work, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I think most of those fads do not work for the vast majority of people. You'll have some people who decide to take on, let's say, carnivore. That's really hot right now. And they might feel really good. They might feel amazing. Okay, well, that in that sense, it might be somewhat sustainable for them. If it really transforms the way that they're feeling, right? But if it just helps you lose some weight and you're miserable and you're missing carbs because who doesn't
Right.
love carbs, right? It's not sustainable.
Yeah.
So, and I think we've been led to believe that we cannot do balance, we cannot do moderation, and so we have to have these strict diets, when in reality, we can do the balance and moderation. We've just struggled with figuring out how to get from A to B,
Yeah.
and we just have to learn how to do that.
I think this kind of I'm sorry if I missed it with all the barking, but I know you mentioned like you went on to after 75 hard, just kind of listening to your body and understanding like how, to kind of feed it. What are those triggers? Cause like I hear you and I'm like, we're learning slowly about all of this, right? Like consistency, there are things that you just need to do just to continue to like listen, but I guess I can never understand that trigger. Like, I feel like I never, like, I listen to my body, but I'm like, it said McDonald's. Like, like I'm saying, I mean, obviously joking, but you know what I mean? Like, how do you start to actually fully listen and understand what's good for your body and what's not? Like, what helped you with that mindset just to figure it out?
So I think the first thing that I really focused on, because this made the most sense to me, was um, my hunger and fullness cues. I
Mm-hmm.
think that is what a lot of people are missing. After so many years of dieting, we really don't understand when our body's hungry, when our body's thirsty, when we're satiated. I think, for me, one of the only feelings I knew was stuffed. Like I would eat way too much.
Mm-hmm.
And so, like it was hard for me to recognize, oh, you're satiated. Like you don't have to eat anymore, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So I think that's a great place to start. It's
Mm-hmm.
just focusing on listening to your body. And that whole process was really messy in the beginning because like I would sit down and eat and I would be like, I think I'm full. And then like 10 minutes later or 20 minutes later, I'd be like, my stomach's growling. I don't think I'm full. Like
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
gotta figure this
Yeah.
out. And then other times I would overeat. And so it's just being really, really focused on that one thing. And that's why I went all in on that at first, was I was like, okay, this is going to be my sole focus. It's just to relearn those hunger and fullness cues. The way that I really focus on foods to eat has kind of changed over the years, but I would say the first thing is really honing in on your symptoms. Like, different foods can cause digestive issues, they can cause sleep issues, energy issues, mood issues, like all of those things. And so I think like really starting to listen to your body and the symptoms that you're having. And it's not an easy process, right?
Yeah.
Like it
Right.
just isn't. It just takes time. That's why I really love starting with the hunger and fullness cues, because I think that's an easier place to start. You're going to get a quicker win with that
Mm-hmm.
versus focusing on the other foods. You guys, I know protein is all the rage these days. Like, right? Everybody's talking about protein, and it is crucial. Like, I am talking about protein
Yeah.
because it
I'm
is.
like over here, like, yeah.
That's
She brought that up before you got on the call too. She was like, I'm gonna ask her.
It's been
I
in
mean,
my fridge for 2 weeks. I thought I would, protein is a big thing right now, building muscle, and it's important for you to intake. But yeah, I mean, like, do I need to be drinking my protein? Protein shakes. I
right.
mean, that kind of thing. Or can I just, I feel like I've heard a lot about just having a clean diet, nothing packaged, nothing processed, all just fresh, that kind of thing, which is hard for people to do. So we turn to things like this. And I don't know, it's an interesting thing that this is even a thing. How do you
Yeah.
feel about products like this?
Yeah. So I think first of all, I just want to touch on you saying we're supposed to, focus on an all clean diet, which is fantastic, right? The less processed food you can eat, great. It's not always what works for your like phase of life. Like I told you, postpartum for me was really, really challenging. And to be totally honest, like our schedules have continued to be really, really crazy the whole time this child has been alive. So I'm just like, so do I eat processed stuff? Yes. Do I drink
Yeah.
protein shakes? Yes. Like I'm not taking that stuff out of my diet because it just isn't practical for me right now. It's
Yeah.
not realistic. So again, I think that goes back to like, yeah, having mostly whole foods is great, right? Try to do as much as you can, but then be okay with it not being perfect, right? Be okay with having protein shakes if that helps you hit your protein goal. That's what I do, right? I had a
Yeah.
protein shake this morning.
Yeah.
So to speak on the protein supplements, so I really like them in the beginning when somebody's trying to increase their protein. I think a lot of us lean more towards loving carbs and fats more than we do protein. And it can be a real challenge to hit your protein goal without the supplements because you start to feel like, oh my gosh, all I'm eating is meat. And this is miserable, which again goes back to it's not going to be sustainable. And I'm in the business of trying to help women lose weight and keep it off forever, right?
Mhm.
Like we want sustainable. That is crucial. Um, so I think that the protein supplement products are really helpful in like gapping the bridge, going from too little protein to enough protein.
Yeah.
And then slowly over time, being able to eat more meat and handle that, and be happy with that and that be sustainable. Um, the one thing about the protein supplements is they're going to digest quicker. One of the great things about protein is that it slowly digests through your body, which helps you feel fuller longer. Your body's working harder to digest that meat. Right? When you're doing a protein shake, it's going to go through your system much quicker. So you're not going to have the benefit of burning as many calories to process it or feeling fuller longer. So that's the one thing. But I do think that they're great in helping you hit your protein goal if you can't do it any other way that day.
Mhm.
And we need a good amount of protein in order for us to be able to maintain our muscle mass. It's not just building muscle. When you're on a weight loss journey, you want to maintain the muscle that you have. And
Mhm.
muscle tissue is more expensive than fat. So your body is going to go straight for paring down as much muscle as it can over fat if it has that option. If you're giving it enough protein and you're strength training and giving it those signals that it needs that muscle, then it's not going to let go of the muscle. It's going to let go of the fat. But if you're
Gotcha.
not doing those two things, you're not going to maintain the muscle. And so what ends up happening is you lose a bunch of weight and you reach your goal weight and you're not happy with how you look because you didn't build enough muscle or maintain enough muscle mass. And you kind of look like skinny fat, you know?
Yeah.
I've heard that term a lot. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think I've ever known that. So that was a good little click in my mind for you. I'm doing a little more weight training. So I'm trying to figure that out.
Good. Yeah.
Less heavy, girl. You've been doing
Trying.
great. You are. You're doing it. So,
Oh.
hot take. Speaking of skinny fat, GLP-1, how do you feel about it?
So I'll tell you my biggest issue with it. I think that it's definitely helpful for some people. Some people do really well on it. And one of the things that it does for most people is it cuts down the food noise.
Uh-huh.
Some of the problems that I have with it, number one, a lot of people have really unfavorable symptoms while they're on it. Like it can be hard to manage everyday life because you feel so sick. So that's the first thing that I don't like about it. But the second thing is I think that people they tend to use it like they would use any other quote unquote magic pill, right? Like any other thing that they've tried. They're hoping that it does the work for them. And so they're not changing anything else. So they go on it, they lose some weight, they decide to go off of it, and the food noise comes back. It's raging, right? So then all they're doing is eating. They're overeating. They don't have their appetite suppressed. They didn't create healthy habits while they were on it, like with their diet, like getting
Right.
enough protein or exercising. And so they gain all the weight back. I've heard that numerous times. Uh, and then also, if you're not like your protein should really be pretty high when you're on a GLP-1 because you tend to lose a lot of muscle. And it can be hard with the nausea that people experience to get in enough protein. So I think people are losing weight, but the goal is not losing weight. The goal is to lose fat. Okay. So we really got to like wrap our brains around that because it feels so good to get smaller. It feels so
Yeah.
good to see the scale drop, but you're not going to feel good and look good overall if most of what's coming off is muscle, right?
Right.
Yeah.
And that's just hard because we've been taught to look at the scale. We've been taught to, our jean size, like, and it feels good to get smaller, but ultimately you're not going to end up with the physique or the health that you would have had you maintained the muscle mass. So,
Without sustainability too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Now, you said you have a younger, is it son? Do you have a boy, another boy?
I have a daughter. Yeah,
My daughter.
my son is 18. My daughter is almost 3.
Daughter. Okay, so I want to get into
You have
to
a
talk of
baby?
raising a girl on all of this. I know Lauren mentioned, what would you say to younger, but as you've obviously figured out your health journey, like how does that look for you raising her and knowing like obviously we come back to TikTok, we come back to social media, we go back to so many things that show these girls of it's right. Be tiny. That's what gets you what you want, and like all of these things. How do you look on that? Like, what are the words of wisdom you would give your daughter as she's growing and going through different phases of her life, and of course, a body. Like I know girls' bodies fluctuate so much. Like, what are your words of wisdom for her? How is that going to be approached?
To be totally honest, I still feel like this is something that I'm like figuring out. She's only almost 3, right? So
Yeah.
we're not having a lot of conversation yet.
Yeah.
Although she is like dancing around and she's like, I'm a princess. And I'm like, yes, you are. She watches me like, it's so funny. She has this pose. I am not girly. I have never have been. It just isn't me, right?
Yeah.
Nothing wrong with it.
No.
But it doesn't come natural to me. Anyway, she has this pose, and my husband and I are like, where did that come from? Like she had to see it on TV because I don't do that. And he's like, I know. It's funny because she's like,
Are you sure? Are you sure she didn't see you in the mirror doing that?
Oh yeah, so funny. But I think like I just try really hard to be a good example. And I think that that's more powerful than anything, right?
Yeah.
Like if I'm making healthy, balanced habits and I'm also, I think another piece of it that moms really struggle with is making the sacrifice to take care of themselves. They feel so much guilt around that. But what I like to remind them of is thinking of the ripple effect. Like when you're taking care of you and you feel really good physically, mentally, emotionally, how do you show up with your kids or your husband? You're going to be more loving. You're going to be more patient. You're going to be more nurturing, right? You're going to have more positive, peaceful interactions because you're not irritated and upset up here. You feel good, right? When you physically feel good and have all the energy and your body feels strong, you can go and experience life with your kids. You don't have to say, I can't get on the airplane. You don't have to say, I can't hike up that hill with you. I don't have to say, I can't climb through these crazy spaces. Although I'm getting older, my knees hurt, but I can still do it.
Yeah.
I can do all of those things. And I think that is powerful. Just
That is
showing her
so
what it's like,
powerful.
right, to live a healthy life and reminding myself, right, that I want to be around for her when she's 30, 40, 50.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Be there if she has kids to help her.
Yeah.
I want to be in her life. I want to be an active part of her life. I don't want to sit on the sidelines.
Yeah.
I don't, you know? And so,
Yeah.
I think that is crucial, because if we think about what we want from our own parents or what we want to be as parents, it's to be active, to be there, to
Mm-hmm.
actually help. We know what it's like to be in midlife and be struggling. We
Yeah.
want to be there.
Mm-hmm.
We're too sick to do that. And we're not there, And so we got to take care of ourselves now. So sacrificing a little bit of time now. Like my daughter's like, please play with me, but I got to get a workout in. Of course, sometimes I'm going to give in and I'm going to play with her. I'm going to be like, come work out with me. Like, I've done hour and a half long workouts in my basement that should have been 30 minutes because we're playing half the time,
Yeah.
like, so you have to figure out a way to make it work, but you don't, like, if I'm always getting up and working out before she ever gets out of bed and she doesn't see me ever work out, or she doesn't see me prioritize my health or prioritize my food or eat a balanced diet, then she's not going to learn those things.
Yeah.
And again, if she sees me avoiding pizza and avoiding ice cream and avoiding carbs, she's going to teach herself that she shouldn't be doing that if she wants to be healthy, which is
Yeah.
completely wrong, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I think
It
being the
is.
example is the most crucial thing that you can do, truthfully.
Yeah. Yeah. I like all of that. I like all of it. I was hoping you'd give me the answer because I have a
I
teenager.
know. She's
No, but I agree with all of that because I feel like I was really young when I had her, and I don't feel like I was the best as far as everything. But now that 30s hit, and I was like, you know what? I have to be a lot nicer to myself if I want to show her like that she needs to be nicer to herself. So we've had a little bit of that conversation, but exactly what you said is I sat on the sidelines with her doing like a 5K last year, and I was like, never again will I sit on the sidelines while you run. Like, I'm going to be there with you. So I love all of that. Yeah, I definitely agree with showing up for yourself is going to show them to show up and be kind and be good to their own selves.
I also think it's healthy to sort of separate. I think it can be easy to attach our own experience or what we're going through to our kids. Cause I have a teenager too. And it's a boy, which makes it a little bit different, but not completely. Like,
Yeah.
I still had to try to teach him healthy habits. And now he's 18 and he's not always making the decisions that I would make, but he has to go through that.
Yeah.
Like that's his process, his journey to go through. And so I'm just trying really hard to set a good example,
Yeah.
and even explain some of the things I'm doing and why I'm doing them, and not attaching them to my weight.
Mm-hmm.
Like, do I want to still lose some weight? Yeah.
Yeah.
Do I still want to gain some muscle? Yeah. I still have like body goals, but that's not the ultimate goal.
Yeah.
I'm here to be strong. I want to be able to do lots of things, live for a long time, have good energy, have a good mood. Like,
Mm-hmm.
so I try to talk about those things and make that connection, because it's not just about the size of your body.
Yeah. Yeah.
But it's different for girls. I do know that.
Yeah. All I have is boys, and you're right. It's still very much the same, where you're just having to, as they're growing up, be that example, even though they're boys,
Right.
and it's so hard for me too, because growing boys, I tell you, they will clean out your pantry in a week, whatever you buy. So I'm just like, how do I like, manage this in a healthy way where I'm not like, hey, we should probably chill out on the, snacks or whatever.
Yeah.
It's so difficult because I know they're growing,
Yeah.
but I'm just like, you don't
Mm.
like celery though. Like, what am I supposed to do?
I do think too, like, and this is actually something that we're starting to go through with my daughter. But one of the things that I always tried to do with my son is help him create balance. Balance is the hardest thing, even for kids, right? Like, all the candy sounds good, all the snacks sound good, and they are hungry all the time. And so grabbing lots of snacks is normal, right?
Mhm.
I think I just tried to tell him, like, okay, let's make sure we're eating a vegetable and a fruit every day, right? Like, and it doesn't have to be like super, super strict, or they don't have to follow a diet, but just like creating some of that balance, helping them create some of that balance. And, I've seen where people will take like fruits and vegetables, make sure they're readily available in the fridge.
Uh-huh.
Having less snacks, or, telling them, okay, this is also a snack. So you can go to the fridge and grab some fruit, or you can grab some vegetables and grab your bag of chips. I think just trying to help them. And it's hard because, especially I think coming from our perspective, because we want the best for them.
Yeah.
We want them to never struggle.
Mm-hmm.
And that has always been my thing. I never wanted my kids to struggle with their weight because it was so, so difficult for me.
Mm-hmm.
I don't get to control that. I get to
Yeah.
be the example, and I get to set some boundaries, right? And help them learn, but ultimately they're on their own journey.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I can only do so much, and so it's not up to us to totally control that, I think.
Yeah.
That's
Dang
healthy
it.
to
No,
hear. Dang it. No,
this was
that's
so much
so healthy
easier.
to hear from a kid that was shamed, in some type of ways, or, told, you should not be doing that, or doing this. So, you sound like a great mom. You sound like a great example for your kids. I'm excited to follow you on Instagram and see your little girl grow up to be the amazing woman that you are.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I hope so. I mean, you just never know.
Now that is
You
one
never
thing for
know with
sure.
these kids.
Okay, so I have a question. This is something that I know I relate to, as far as family wise, or even friend wise. When you kind of get into this flow and you're finally losing weight, or you're in this mindset of like, I'm making healthier choices for yourself, but you have those people who kind of creep in who are like, why are you doing that? And like, are you you're getting too skinny, or like,
Who is
oh,
it? Tell me.
they make those comments. Have you had those people creep into your life, and like, have you shut them down, or have you just kind of, cut them out? How have you navigated any kind of, what is it called? Negative energy coming to you as you're on this journey?
I have to be honest and say I haven't really come across a lot of that.
That is amazing.
Yeah. Um, and I think part of that is because this has been like a lifelong journey for me.
Yeah. Yeah.
And truth be told, if somebody tried to tell me what I was doing wasn't good, or tried to steer me from it, I would just be like, okay, that's it.
Maybe it's just our culture,
Yeah.
Lauren, because
Maybe, yeah. There's
Yeah.
not like, yeah, I just haven't dealt with a whole lot of that.
Yeah.
Which has been good. But yeah, I haven't really, I mean, I've had people that I think were like, excuse me, were also trying to figure out their weight loss, right? Like trying to figure out what they wanted to do and what was going to work for them. And so I've had people be kind of like, I don't think that's going to work, but not like, you're getting too small. You shouldn't be worried about that. Like, I mean, and I think too, like a lot of my family members, I was really overweight at a very young age. So like, I remember my grandmother used to say, she would talk about how much food I would get. Like she would say, your eyes are bigger than quarters. Like you would get so much food and you shouldn't be. And so like, she was trying really hard to create balance for me. So as I grew up and started losing weight and doing things, they're all like, this is amazing, right? Because you need to. So they didn't say it like that, but it's right, like they did.
Yeah.
So I think I'm fortunate that I haven't really had people that have tried to like stop me
Yeah.
or sabotage me.
Yeah.
And to that I would just say like everybody's on their own journey, right? And as long as you're not doing anything that's unhealthy, right? As long as you're not like, hurting yourself, then, they should just be supportive, and you can just tell them I said that.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
will.
I'm like, who is it? Because I feel like as you get older, like when you're younger, I feel like there are a lot of people like that in your life. But I
Mhm.
think as we've gotten older, there's more supportive people that want the best for you, and you're weeding out the people that are like,
Right.
why are you doing that? Why, they're either jealous or they truly aren't your friend. I don't know, but
Yeah.
I was reading
Yeah.
something the other day that was talking about how when people are trying to stop you from doing the thing that you're trying to do, it's because they don't feel capable of doing that, or they don't want to do it.
Mm.
It's not easy to lose weight. It's not easy
Yeah.
to focus on your health and fitness and be healthier, right? So if they don't want to do it, if they can keep you from doing it, then they're going to feel better about themselves.
Yeah.
Right? What you're doing is making them feel bad about themselves because they're unwilling to do it, but you're
Yeah.
willing to do it. So I think that's another thing, is I would just remind you, right? Like, this is about you. This is your journey. This is your health. Like, ultimately, you are looking out for you, who is most important, and then your family, the people closest to you,
Yeah.
that matter, so that you can be around for them for a long time. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. I like all that. That was all great. We'll just get into here. No, just kidding. Okay. All right. This was amazing. You did all of this knowledge. We're going to listen back like 12 times before we put it out to the public.
I'll probably private message you a few times.
Go right ahead.
So I want to end, as we're wrapping up, I want to end with some trends of fabulous dieting. What you would, yay or nay, which is probably nay.
Yes.
We're going to start with the first one, which is simple, and you mentioned it, 75 hard. Yay and nay. You're all,
Yeah, I mean, I think that it is, I'm in the middle, because again, is it something that's sustainable? That's to be questioned. But I do think that it's a super powerful program. But again, like, a lot of times people look at it as a health and fitness program, and it is not. It is a mental toughness program. So when you approach it that way, you're going to have physical outcomes. You're going to have a physical transformation, but you're going to have one heck of a mental transformation. And I think that's what matters the most. So
What
I say yay, but I don't want people to be like, okay, I have to do 75 hard to lose weight, because you don't.
Yeah.
Isn't there a 75 soft?
I was about to get to that.
What's the difference?
So the creator of the program created 75 hard. It is a mental toughness program. 75 soft was like a piggyback off of it. Somebody else created that. And it's very offensive to the creator that somebody because they basically took his challenge and like dumbed it down. And he's like, what you all don't understand is it's not a weight loss challenge.
Yeah.
It's a mental toughness challenge, right?
Yeah.
And if you're not willing to commit to the 75 hard, then you're dumbing it down, right? Like, I don't want dumbing it down is probably the wrong term, but you're watering it down, right?
Yeah.
Like, you're taking away the whole point of it. The whole point of it is to be hard. The whole point of it is it to be inconvenient, and for you to be able to change your life and figure out what you're capable of.
Yeah.
If you're watering it down, then you're not doing it,
Yeah.
So anyway,
On the
hard.
75.
Sorry.
it's so hard.
Yes.
Okay, so I'm going to be totally transparent. I have not told anybody this. I started today. So today is actually, I'm doing it day one today. I haven't done it. I've done it a couple. I started it and completed it in 2021. I have not. I've started it a couple times since then and have not completed it. Life was just really, really crazy. But yeah, so I started it today. So I love the challenge, and I think that it creates a level of discipline, a level of consistency, and it gives you a confidence boost that you can't get anywhere else. Like, to know that you pushed yourself through doing all of that when 90% of the time you don't want to do it is amazing.
Yeah.
But I don't approach it because I want to lose weight. That's not why I do the challenge. That wasn't the reason the first time, but I had a transformation.
Yeah.
I lost some weight from it, but I lost 12 pounds. I didn't lose 20, 25, 30 like you see some people losing.
Yeah.
And I think that's because I approached it as a mental toughness challenge and was really focused on other things. So anyways, so I love the challenge. I like it, but I don't love it for weight loss in particular. And for somebody who's really struggling with figure out what they want to do and where they're going in that journey. So
yeah. And on the diet part, it's you choose a diet, right? And you just stick to it.
You do. You choose a diet, but you can't have any treats, right? So like in his book, he has a book that he wrote about it where it shows you all the details of it. And he says not even one chocolate chip.
Dang it.
Like you don't have treats on it. It's not easy. And I don't think it's sustainable. He stays on the program a lot of the year, but not all the time. So he takes some time off and he'll have a beer there or have a pizza there or whatever, so like even he does some of that. There's a lot of gray area, I think, for a lot of people in the diet area because it says choose a diet, but just counting your calories isn't really a diet. Right? He wants you to align your diet with your goals. Okay. So if your goals are to lose weight and get stronger, that's going to be eating enough protein. That's going to be staying in a calorie deficit. That's going to be eating mostly clean foods, right?
Yeah.
Things like that. So it's strict, right? And you don't need that to lose weight. You don't. But I do think it's a powerful program for your mind.
Yeah. Being in a calorie deficit is so hard, and I just find myself looking at my watch all the time. I'm just like, what am I putting in my body?
I feel like the hardest part of being in a calorie deficit for me is tracking everything. I'm like, I don't. Can I scan it? Is it like easy? Because I don't want to track it.
Hey, you're onto something. We should create something.
Right. So, what app do you use to track your food?
I've used MyFitnessPal, and there's one with this orange scale on it that I can't think of. Is
that Noom or Lose It?
I've used Noom. Oh, and you Lose It. I've used all three of them.
You're using all of them.
So on MyFitnessPal, they have a barcode scanner.
Yeah, but now it's only available if you get the pro version.
But I'm going to give you a little secret.
Oh.
If you will go in and change your location to the UK or Canada, you should get it for free.
You heard it here first, people.
I like this because I know I used it a few years ago and I know it was free. You could just scan stuff and it would pile it in, but they were like, everybody in the US is using it, so let's charge them for it.
Now. And the other thing is, so then there's all these foods that you can't scan because they're like fresh foods, right?
Yeah.
One of the best things that you can do is create your recipes in there. Okay. So I make a recipe. I weigh all of the ingredients individually in grams or ounces or whatever.
Yeah.
And put them into MyFitnessPal and create the recipe. I weigh the whole recipe in grams. So let's say the whole thing is 2,000 grams. Then every single time I go to have a portion, I weigh it out in grams, and that's how many servings. So if the whole thing weighs 2,000, then you've got 2,000 servings. Then when you put yours in for the day you're going to eat it, you might have 250 servings. Okay. So it sounds a little complicated and it's like takes a little bit of time up front. But once you put the recipe in there, you have it every single time. And then I use the recipe in MyFitnessPal every single time I make it so that all the numbers stay the same. And it just makes tracking so much easier.
Yeah.
So that's what I do. That's what I love. I'm a serial tracker. Like it does not overwhelm me. I like the tracking. I like the data. But
she's a numbers girl like you does.
Except for when it comes to food.
Yeah.
So I avoid it, but I like it. I like the tips. I will definitely try it because I have it on my phone already again.
I wanted to say something else. Okay, Lauren, you were saying that you're hungry all the time. So the two things I would do is it's not uncommon for somebody to be in too low of a deficit. Okay. So you don't have to be in an extremely low deficit to lose weight. Okay. You could be in a moderate deficit and still lose weight. Are you going to lose weight a little bit slower? Yes. But you're not going to deal with the struggle of the hunger. But the other thing that's really powerful, especially if you're dealing with a lot of hunger, is getting enough protein and fiber. Right. And and you can feel free to message me and I'll look at your numbers if you want me to, but sometimes our calories are way too low. Sometimes our protein is really too low and we don't really understand the correct numbers, because we've been taught eat less, move more. And so we think everything needs to be lower when in reality, your body will function better if you're eating enough. So that's another, if you're dealing with you should not be like, obviously hunger is going to happen sometimes. It just shouldn't be all the time. That makes it really hard to stay in a deficit. So that's a tidbit.
Love that tip. All right. Let's do one more, or I guess like two more. What about the military diet, the 3-day military diet?
Oh, I don't know what that is.
You don't? Okay.
No.
So basically, it's a 3-day meal plan on the military diet. It consists of 16 foods divided between breakfast, lunch, and dinner. So it starts with day 1, you got half a grapefruit, 1 slice of toast, 2 tablespoons of peanut butter. Lunch, you got a half a cup of tuna, toast. Dinner, you got 3 ounces of meat, 1 cup of green beans, half a banana, an apple, a cup of vanilla ice cream. And then that's kind of what lunch looks like. 2 hot dogs the next day, actually, no bun. A cup of broccoli, half cup of carrot, half a banana, a half cup of vanilla ice cream. And then you go back to meal 1 without 3 ounces of meat. And then, yeah, I'm going to have to screenshot this so that way y'all can see it.
What's happening?
Yeah, this is a military diet. I was like, who is in charge of this?
Okay, let's be serious for a second, even though that's crazy and I'm saying today. But so if you're in the military, you're probably being active for hours upon hours upon hours upon hours, right? So that's going to help you stay in that deficit. You're not going to have time to eat because you're so busy. Right? Obviously, that is not sustainable. It's not.
Yeah.
So
No.
I do kind of love that it's like hot dogs and ice cream are included.
Yeah.
I do want some balance.
Yeah.
Like, definitely not enough protein, not enough calories, definitely not sustainable.
Sounds
No.
like my kids' diet.
Yeah, it's very interesting. I'm like, these sounds like snacks. It's all snacks. I'm not getting a meal.
Yeah. I'm gonna be raging. You know what? If you don't give me enough food,
Exactly.
nobody's gonna be happy.
Okay, here is a fresh cucumber lemonade that keeps popping up on my Facebook page that I wanted to share. It is so you're supposed to drink this only 2 cups a day for 1 week and you will see a significant weight change.
Only
That's what it
that?
says. No, you're not just drinking the juice, but you're supposed to drink this. Only this for 1 week. So you're just straining a cucumber. You'll add some lemon. You use honey, and then you just make a cold pressed juice for the week. And then you're supposed to drink this throughout the entire week. It does not give you any other steps. So I can apparently eat my Whataburger, my McDonald's, and drink this drink and lose the weight because that's what Facebook told me to do.
Like it really helps a little bit with hydration. Right?
Yeah.
You're getting nutrients, but I think those things are just psychological, right? Like if you go do that, what else are you going to do? Because you're doing that and you're trying to lose weight.
Yeah.
Right. So then are you going to like eat really strict for a week? Okay. And eat less carbs, which your carbs make you hold water weight. Okay. So if you eat a whole bunch of carbs one day and you get on the scale next day, you can gain 2, 3, 5 pounds. Okay. You didn't gain 5 pounds of fat overnight. You didn't gain 2 pounds of fat overnight. You gained water, right? So you go really low carb or really strict and you eat less and you have less carbs, less salt because you're eating less processed stuff. You're going to drop some water. So the scale's going to change, right? You're going to have less
Yeah.
bloat, but it's basically going to be water weight. It's not going to be true fat that's going to stay off. And then when you go back to not drinking that drink and eating your carbs, it's going to come right back on, which is
Mhm.
great, right? We
Yeah.
don't want to see the scale go back up. So
No.
nay, I'm going nay with that too. If
Okay.
you want to just try it as a drink, go for it. Right?
It sounds like a great drink. So I was like,
I like doing the what is it? It's lemon, ginger, lemon cayenne, ginger shots in the morning. That gets me going. So maybe it's a fad, maybe it's not,
it
but
gets me going.
it does.
If you feel good, you feel good. Do it.
Uh-huh.
But just don't try to do that and not eat anything and lose some weight. That's not going to work.
No, I'm eating. Don't worry.
Okay, last one, just because I'm curious on this. Fasting. How do you feel about fasting?
Okay. So, for most people, when we're just talking in terms of weight loss, fasting works because you're eliminating a meal or you're eliminating 2 meals, right? So it's a strategy to put you into a calorie deficit. Okay. So if you feel good doing it, like you might feel really good to not eat breakfast and only get hungry at like noon. Well, then
Yeah.
if that's the case and you feel good and you have good energy and you're able to fit your food in from 12 to 8, great, do it. But if you wake up like me and you're ravenous in the morning, and if you make me wait till noon to eat, I'm going to be biting your head off. I'm not doing it. Like I did it. I told you guys earlier, I did it to my wedding. I was doing alternate day fasting. I was going 36 hours without food. Here's what I can tell you. I felt horrible. Like there are people who say that they fast and they have really good energy and they have really good focus. And I just had really amazing thoughts of food. Like I was just hungry and mad at the world and staring at the clock.
Yeah.
And I did it for a while. Like I had tried, the 12 hours and the like all the different things and for a few months I did the alternate day fasting. Like I have a good experience. So I know for me it doesn't feel good. Okay? It's not required for weight loss. It's just like with any diet. Most of the diets, the reason that they work for losing weight is because they put you in a calorie deficit. If you're on a low carb diet, you're basically cutting out a macronutrient. You're going to cut your calories.
Yeah.
So that's pretty much the reason that most diets work for weight loss. Now, when it comes to overall health, I can't even really speak to all of that because I haven't done like enough research, but I know that fasting is really good for your body and your health. It gives you a break, your digestive system a break, everything helps you repair. Like it can be amazing for your health. But just when we're speaking of weight loss, it's not necessary, but it's not horrible either. But if you're someone like me who struggled with your relationship with food or it doesn't make you feel good, then again, you're choosing an unsustainable strategy, right? So there's some people who kind of fast naturally and have before that was a fad, right?
Like that's me. I don't eat until like 1 or 2.
And if you feel good, there's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
The problem can be is if you're intermittent fasting, and I've seen this with several clients, they don't eat until later in the day, and then they really struggle to stay satiated, to stay in their calorie deficit, or they even deal with not very much hunger. And so what happens is they're drastically under eating. And if you're under eating, your body will hold on to weight. You will not lose weight because your body is like starving for nutrition.
That's my issue.
Yeah.
Thank you.
More.
Okay. Well, look, there you go. I've been wanting that question answered for a long time. When I worked in corporate world, there were so many people who'd come up and they were like, "I'm fasting until 1," and I'm like, "So you're just like I'm like." okay, because like they wouldn't use. I was like, is this not basically like starving yourself until you're ready to eat? But I was like, okay, I'm not gonna frame it that way. But good for you. I'm gonna go eat a snack. Lauren, do you have anything else for Jessica?
You gave us all the tips and tricks. I learned a lot. I appreciate all of your knowledge, and I know a lot of people that are going to listen are going to get a lot from this. So
Yes.
thank you so much. Were amazing, are amazing, and I can't wait to speak to you later on in the future. I saw on your Instagram that you posted a Friday brag post. So I wanted to end on a Monday brag. What is something that you can brag about? Maybe that happened this weekend, or you started 75 hard. That could be it too.
You know what I'm going to brag about? I have been so overwhelmed that I asked my husband, I'm like, can you please take my daughter and go somewhere and give me the time to just like knock out some things, like, because
Yeah.
it's just sitting here and I can't get it done. So I had the most productive weekend and got lots of things done and prepped myself to start 75 hard, because 75, you don't have much time when you're doing 75 hard. So anyway, that's my brag.
Yes.
We love that. That's awesome.
Oh, yes. I love all of this. So, Jessica, to end this, let's go ahead and let everybody know where they can find you, follow you, reach out to you, all your information for them.
Okay. So I have a free Facebook group. It's just Finally Fit with Coach Jess. You can go on Facebook and join that group. I'm on Instagram. I'm on Facebook. It's all at Finally Fit with Coach Jess. You can also go to my website, which is finallyfitwithcoachjess.com. On there is actually a free starter kit if you wanted to sign up for that. It includes a high protein cookbook that's like really simple, easy meals that your whole family will love. And then it also includes like some quick workouts that are strength training, which is so crucial for you, and that can be done anywhere. So it's really simple. It's really built to help women just start simply, right? And get it done and get it in and feel good about that. And doing the things that are important. But on my website, I also talk about, I have a membership. I do private coaching. So all of that information is on there if anybody wants to check it out. And I'm always open to DMs. I love to just talk to other women and have conversations and support them and help them work through things, with their weight loss and their health and fitness. So my DMs are always open if you just want to message me.
Will do.
Yes. Lauren's the first one in there. Oh, that's perfect. Okay. Well, we appreciate you so much for jumping on and reaching out. This is amazing. So
I'm excited. This was a lot of fun. Thank you for having me.
Yes, of course. All right. Well, everybody else, we appreciate you joining us for our episode.
Yes.
And we will be bringing more fun and exciting guests like Jessica on future episodes. So,
did I really reveal my clear protein?
Did we really talk about fasting and starving?
Yes, we really did. I'm not doing that. So don't do that.
Don't pass
really
on
talk
that
about
one.
the military diet?
Yes.
Yeah. Hot dogs. What?
Hey, at least you got a sweet treat every night. Ice cream.
It's a balance. That's perfect.
All right. Well, I think we're going to end it on that.
Sounds good. Thanks for listening, everybody. And thank you again, Jessica. You were amazing.
Yes.
I appreciate
We'll talk soon. Yeah.
Bye.
Are you ready to elevate your brand?
Or are you still working on Canva logos until 2 a.m.?
Let Collective Dallas handle it.
They've worked with Fortune 500s to small side hustles like your cousin's biz.
Web design, branding, they do it all.
Visit collectivedallas.com and let the pros handle it.
And if you want to run ads on our podcast,
email us at didwereallypodcast@gmail.com and we'll make your ad sound just as good.